so here I just left the planter mode, so let's just say that, you know, we're done planting for the year, and now we have the iPad as a scouting tool. We're not connected to 2020, we're just in scouting mode. So now I'm going to pull open the map. It brought up that demo field. So now I'm going to select my field up here at the top left.
Go to Phil South 108.
And we'll go to one of Kurt and Aaron's fields. You want to look at the downforce map?
Well, I want them to, this field to build. Okay, see all the red? You know, if you just looked at that, you might think, oh man, that's got to be really bad. Now pull up the report.
You actually had one row that I noticed this before.
Okay, so we had 1.4 loss of ground, 85% good, and 12.8 excess. Now sort by excess. Other way.
How do you go the other way? Tap it twice?
You just tap it twice, it goes back and forth.
So we had, oh, this isn't the field I'm thinking of. Let's see, this was...
This field here, you had an issue in row 1 with losing ground.
Yeah, yeah, this was the field. Look at row 1 compared to all the other rows. 14.6, 1.6, 1 point, you know, average is 1.4. This was the field where I noticed that our weigh pin that I thought was bad, the gauge wheel was actually dragging, and there was an issue with the gauge wheel. So because of that issue with the gauge wheel, row 1, which I thought had the bad pin, was actually a 14.6 loss of ground contact. But I guess my point is that you look at that field kind of a little bit to your point, John. You look at that field and you say, wow, there's a lot of red there, but then and you can kind of see too, you know, there's a lot of red in the center. Then you've got some lighter green and blue kind of trends here on your planter passes. It's because deer planters are notorious for the wings riding up. We had a weight pin on every row, so you know, you see that in the map. That's Air Force. So hit the reports button again, Greg. 85% good. That's pretty common for Air Force. We had some fields that were over 90 and some that were down around 70 or 75. So as a farm average is about 85.
So yeah, now, like I said, we're basically in the scouting mode. So this is where we can scrutinize the data, see what actually happened while we were planting. So you can see the little guy at the top right. When you hit that, it's going to take you right to where you actually are standing. So it's interactive. It's going to show you as you're standing in that field. You open it. There we go. It's got us pegged pretty close, actually.
Yep.
It's even on the right side of the building.
I can see my Ford truck.
No, you can't. That's an old picture.
Don't get confused. I mean, if you don't see your tractor out there running the field, you don't have to be worried. I mean, everything's still working as it should. So, one thing to point out though, when you are using your iPad GPS, obviously remember that a lot of you are probably used to using RTK and so forth, and you're not going to have that type of accuracy with an iPad. There are attachments that you can add on to the iPad to get higher accurate signals. But when you look at the data that's already mapped, you will see direction arrows. They're a little hard to see on the screen probably, but like right there, you can see direction arrows where you're going this way or going that way. So then you can kind of judge when you get out in the field and you're wanting to look at the problem area, just looking at guess rows or tire tracks or whatever, that'd probably be the best way of trying to narrow down to exactly what you're trying to find. Because the iPad could be like 30 feet off, or more than that even. I mean, it just gets you in the general area, and then you can kind of use the direction arrow you have all the same features while scouting as what you have while you're actually planning. So, I mean, you can be out there scouting right on an area and hit that take screenshot button